Hello, everyone, and welcome to Post Popcorn Picks. Today we're going to be reviewing Joker, and I am joined here with
Matt Walker.
All right, and the synopsis of the film is: in Gotham City, a mentally troubled comedian, Arthur Fleck, embarks on a downward spiral of social revolution and bloody crime. This path brings him face to face with his infamous alter ego, the Joker. Matt, who is in this film?
Yeah, so it's directed by director Todd Phillips, and it stars Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck, the Joker, and Robert De Niro, and Zazie Beetz.
All right, what did you think of it?
I thought it was a really good movie. Not exactly what I was expecting. I went into it with an open mind, and so I kind of was already prepared for it to be a little darker than I expected, but it was even darker than I thought. So definitely not a family movie, but still a great movie. So what do you think?
I really enjoyed it. I love the cinematography. You could tell they took a lot of tips from Taxi Driver.
Mm-hmm.
It was very Martin Scorsese-esque with the directing style and cinematography with it. I thought the story itself was really good. The only thing that I think would be a little bit of a problem is it took a little too much from like Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
To where it's like you can kind of see what things are going to happen. But overall, I thought it was really good. Again, not a family film. I work at a movie theater, and it's weird because sometimes you see like parents bringing their kids like 10 to 12 to it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this kid's not going to
This is not a comic book movie. Yeah,
it's a very slow like build-up film to like what it ends up just kind of what it ends up building up to.
Yeah.
But
it really
overall, overall, I really enjoyed it. I actually saw it twice. I think Joaquin Phoenix did an amazing job as the Joker, with just like both physically and within his performance. And I think Todd Phillips did an amazing job just directing this film. He normally comes from a comedy background. He directed the Hangover films.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. So I think it's a very big leap from Hangover to like a film like Joker, but I think he did a really good job helming it with like the script and just overall the direction of the film. Yeah. And I think it was paced pretty well too. There was never really like a moment where I was like, I'm kind of bored right now. There was
it was a thriller. It really was. Yeah.
There was some scenes though that just kind of like happen, and then there's no like explanation for them. But I think that just kind of adds to like kind of like the theories that are out there of what that kind of means and whatnot. What would you give it like out of 5?
Out of 5, man, it's definitely, I would say, like movie of the year in my opinion. I would give it like a 4.5 star out of 5.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking like 4.5. Do you think Joaquin Phoenix would get an Oscar nomination for this?
I think he's going to get like an Academy Award for sure, because he had to do a ton just to be in that role. I heard he had to lose like over 50 pounds, like 52 or 59 pounds or something like that. So he really like went the extra mile to like try to portray the Joker, which I thought was awesome. And he really he was terrifying as the Joker, like in that role. So he nailed it, I think. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I give it a 4.5 as well. I think Oscar-wise, I think he's going to get nominated, but I don't think he's going to win. But I think he does definitely deserve that nomination for like both the physical and like mental type of transformation that he endured like while filming the movie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, stick around. We're going to do a spoiler section for anyone who has seen it. We're going to just talk all about like the things that happened within the film. All right, and then join us next week for our podcast and our next week for our post popcorn picks. All right, so spoilers. Where do you want to start?
So for example, for me, some of it was predictable in the sense that, like when the Joker, I told you this already, but when the Joker or Arthur Fleck like starts to have like a relationship with that woman, I forgot what her name was in the movie, but he starts to have that relationship. I had a feeling that was all in his head fabricated, because I know he's a psycho, like a mentally deranged individual. So I was like, I'm sure that there's something going on here where it's not all like actually true. So I kind of predicted that, but so it goes to question like those theories out there, like you were saying, like was it all just in his head? Like what amount of it was actually real, you know.
I didn't necessarily see the relationship coming, but as watching it, like, that was one of my problems with the film. Like, I feel like this is happening way too fast. There's, like, no development. But then it ends up paying off in the end because, like, it ends up just not even being real. But I do love that scene where he just kind of goes in her apartment and there's that reveal of, like, she's like, you know, kind of like, who are you type of thing. And I love that. My favorite scene being, like, the one where he's in his apartment and his two old coworkers come.
Oh, man.
And he just brutally murders one of them. And that scene was just so intense in the sense of, like, I just didn't know what was going to happen. Because the short dude, like, when he's leaving, he scares him. I'm like, I don't know if this guy's just going to live through this or what.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about it. Because, like, Joaquin Phoenix does, like, an amazing job with just, like, portraying this unpredictable type of person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's that part where, like, he locks the door and he can't get the lock, so he has to ask him for help. No. I'm just like, man.
I didn't know if that was part of, like, Joaquin's plan, like, if he already had that, like, intention, like, oh, he's not gonna be able to open the door, so I'm gonna get him, even though I said it's cool, kind of thing, you know. So I didn't know if that was, like, part of Joker's, like, you know, his master plan, I guess, in that scenario. But yeah, Joaquin really did present a terrifying Joker. And especially with all that weight he lost, like, he looked unnaturally skinny.
Yeah.
And that's super kind of, I feel like, a quality of the actual, like, comic book Joker. So he really did look the role, too, on top of actually performing incredibly well. So
something that I heard from other people, though, that this being such a different Joker than, like, our traditional one, is that, like, and I kind of feel the same way, too, is it doesn't necessarily feel like a Batman threat.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like Joaquin
agree.
Phoenix Joker would be, like, a threat.
Yeah, at least not yet, yeah. I'm sure they could always I hope that they make another one, because it's so popular at this point. It's probably racking in so much money. They probably are thinking about it, or will think about producing another film with Joaquin Phoenix as a Joker. And if they do, I think that they should expand on what his, like, actual capabilities are. You know what I mean? Because in this movie, it's, like, really, like, small time crime, right? Like, he just kills someone and then gets away with it. But you know, up until the end. But you know, when he actually does the reveal, like, tells everybody on live TV, like, yeah, I killed those 3 Wall Street guys. But yeah, so if they do want to make him a Batman threat, they definitely need to expand more on that. But
yeah, something that I really loved is that it was like a weird type of, I don't know if it was intentional or just like or if it was just like kind of a mistake, but like that subway scene, if you count the bullets, he like has like 8 or 9 bullets that he shoots in like a 6-round gun.
Oh,
so it kind of plays into that, like,
yeah,
because you kind of learn that Arthur Fleck is an unreliable narrator. Like, a lot of things he's saying either could be fabricated or really happened. So it's like, did that subway thing go down as we seen it, or did it go down differently? Because, like, the amount of bullets he shot was not really how much is, like, in the actual gun. But I got, like, a big... Did you ever watch Hacksaw Ridge?
No, I didn't.
That's
like a World War II movie?
Yeah. There's like a big... Something that I felt similar to it was, like, there's, like, the whole film, like, has this, like, type of non-violent, soothing tone to it all throughout the movie. And then right when they get into war, it's just, like, just no filter whatsoever. You're just right into it. Yeah. And that's what I felt with the subway scene, because we hadn't seen really anything too violent prior. Exactly. And then right when the subway scene happens, like, 3 guys just get shot and, like, brutally murdered.
And then everything after that is violence. Yeah, pretty insane. I also thought it was interesting how the Joker, like, after, you know, because they're always playing in the background, like, on the TVs, like, still no suspect for, you know, the Joker killing, whatever, they call him, like, the clown murder or whatever. And then how that inspires people in the real world. So it like, begs the question, how would real people react to a scenario like that? You know what I mean? And they kind of, like, make up their own, like, story on how that might happen and how they actually, you know, kind of are inspired by his killings, which I think is really interesting. And that's what the movie really serves to be, is like an in-depth character study into the mind of a killer, you know, which is really what it is.
Yeah, something that I like kind of agree with is some people were talking about, like, if you just stripped away all the Batman stuff in this movie, which would be really easy, like, you know, like when he goes to the hospital, like, name the hospital something different than Arkham. Yeah. You know, and just take all the Batman stuff out and just make them, like, regular characters. It wouldn't really be too much of a different movie.
It wouldn't, no, absolutely.
Like, I feel like it's really easy to, like, take the Batman stuff out and just kind of, like, write, like, and its own original idea. But with that being said, I just feel like it's kind of, I don't know how they if they traditionally wrote it as a Joker script itself, or they had like a similar script and then they threw the Batman stuff in there. But I could see how like the Batman stuff benefits it, because a movie called Joker with Batman stuff will make a ton more money than something like exactly the same, but
drawing a lot more people.
Yeah.
'Cause Batman's a pretty popular name. You know,
Yeah.
he's one of the biggest characters in my opinion. So, yeah, absolutely. That's interesting, though. I never thought of it that way. Like, if they took out the Batman stuff, it really could be like a standalone movie that has nothing to do with the Joker.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
What was your opinion on like the first kind of reveal? That it also is up for speculation, but I personally think it kind of got resolved in not being true, with Arthur Fleck being like a stepbrother to Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, at first, because I am a big Batman fan, always loved Batman.
I wasn't vibing with that.
Yeah, I wasn't
much.
vibing with that
like,
either. So I was like, no, that's not true to the source material. So I didn't like that, but then they resolved it in that he wasn't actually Thomas Wayne's son, whatever. So that fixed it for me. But in the moment, I was like, dude, they shouldn't go with that. That's not the right move.
Yeah, I wasn't really feeling it either.
Yeah, but they saved it. They were like, he's not actually, his mom was actually just crazy. Then he's also crazy. So it kind of adds up, you know. But yeah, no, I wasn't feeling with that either. But yeah.
Did you think he was did you think that he was gonna? I never like thought. They always kept on hinting at it and playing around with it that like he was just gonna like kill himself on live TV.
Yeah.
But I never like believed that he was gonna shoot himself.
Yeah, I was running through scenarios in my brain, like how, like in my mind, I was thinking like, well, if they kill him off, they're gonna have to introduce another Joker if they want to continue the series. So for me, it was like that's possible, that's a possibility. But for me, I was pretty confident that he was actually safe, like as a character. He wasn't going anywhere. He wasn't gonna die. So I didn't know what he was gonna do with the gun or what he was planning on doing with it. But I had a what do you call it? Like I felt like he was gonna be okay, you know, at the end of it all. So I wasn't too sure, but.
Do you think at the very end he killed the
nurse?
Yeah.
I do think so. I think that's them trying to say, oh, he's not going to be here locked up forever. He's going to get away. And this was their like explanation on how he breaks out of whatever it was, probably Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
So I think that was their way of saying, oh, the Joker escapes, and that's how he's going to be in the Batman verse following this movie, you know. So.
Yeah, I really enjoyed overall the film, and I liked the different like kind of twists and turns that they had with it. Like I said, like there was like a lot of times where, like with the whole brother thing, I was like, I'm not feeling this, and then they resolved that, and then the same thing with the relationship with the girl, and then they resolved that.
What do you think? Okay.
Yeah.
Or it might be Harley Quinn, but no. Yeah.
What'd you think of his first stand-up performance?
His first stand-up performance, well, that one kind of fooled me, and that one kind of fooled me in the sense that I thought like maybe the audience was actually really digging his stand-up, and then you kind of find out later like, oh, like he was just cracking all these jokes and no one was laughing and all this stuff. So it was a twist for me in that sense. So yeah.
Did you ever feel bad for him?
Oh man, I sympathize, and that's one dangerous thing about this movie is I did sympathize for the Joker at many moments. Mostly when he was like still innocent and good, and then later as he kept killing people, I was like, yeah, this is a villain, so you can't be falling for that sympathy thing, right? So, but early on, like when he was like getting bullied and things like that, when he got that sign broken over his head and all that, I did sympathize for him then. So, yeah. What about you?
I love Joaquin's performance in the sense of like, you know how he has that laughing condition? Mm-hmm. He does it so perfectly where he like is just laughing, but you can like tell that he's trying not to.
Yeah.
Especially in the stand-up where he's like practically choking, just trying to like keep himself together. But yeah, I mean, I really sympathize with like his character, but like I think a perfect thing is that like, you know, if this was any other type of movie and they went a more cliche or traditional route where like the character ends up like getting better, that'd be different. But like with his character, it just kind of shows like what happens when like someone like him just keeps going down this wrong path.
Exactly.
And there's like a level of like, well, I sympathize with you, but you're just kind of going about this the wrong way.
Exactly right. Yeah, just going further and further like into insanity kind of thing. Yeah, that was really interesting concept of this movie. But
I love like all these little like things that they put in there, like when he puts himself in the fridge.
Yeah.
There's like a whole theory of just like maybe he just killed himself then and everything after that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then there's like when the ambulance just hits the car, the cop car.
Yeah.
Did he die in there and then everything else after that not happen?
Oh, I see. Okay, there's like all these different theories.
Yeah,
I
there's
should
all
have
these
done
like
more research on these. I wish I would have. But
yeah, it's really there's a lot of like interpretation and speculation about like what really happened. And I think that's like what a perfect thing is for a Joker movie. It's like it gives you a lot of questions with a lot of substance, but not really a clear answer. So you have like a lot of different type of speculations.
Yeah, exactly. Because you are like inside the mind of like an insane individual, so there should be a lot of weird like inconsistencies and theories that like spawn off of that, in my opinion. So yeah, I agree 100%.
All right, and would you recommend the Joker? Like people?
Oh yeah, I absolutely recommend this movie to people. Don't bring the family along. It's not an Avengers-like experience. So.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it too. So yeah, just join us next week for our next post popcorn picks.